Hey guys, welcome back. I know what you're thinking. Automation rules. Do we really need to know how to use these? I mean, a lot of people don't talk about automation rules simply because they don't really know how to use them. Or, let's be honest, sometimes these rules can turn off things that are working the whole time and it messes with your campaign. So I'm going to walk you through some of the automation rules that are in place, not just the ones that I've created, but also ones that clients of mine have created, because the whole purpose of this is to make it easy for you to manage the account. It's not 100% hands off. Sometimes things get turned off that you don't want to have turned off, but let's be honest, how great would it be if a campaign's turned off that's clearly bleeding money, and if you're not online, it's done for you. So as you can see in this account right now, we have a ton of rules, some that are on, some that are off. A lot of these are checked once every day, once every couple days, or some could be checked even once every, week. It's all based on the duration that's good for you. But as an example, as you could see here, this rule is based upon a account where they're trying to achieve at least a $250 application. So ad sets that are optimizing for applications, if they don't achieve at least a $250 application cost in the last 72 hours, this will automatically turn off that ad set. And it looks over a 30-day duration, so that if it keeps every 3 days, it just checks again and again and again, making sure that as long as it stays within that pattern, well, it stays on. If it doesn't, it automatically turns off. And this can be done continuously. You can customize it based on the time frame at which you want it to run, and so on and so forth. But then let's look at another one. This is the exact same account. Now you're thinking, why would you do a 3-day check over 30 days, but then do a 7-day check? Well, think of it this way. Every 3 days, you're maintaining a $250 CPA, cost per application. All of a sudden, on the 6th and 7th day of the week, those numbers shoot up to 800. Now, if over the course of a 7-day period, the average is still 250, well, it'll keep the campaign on, or the ad sets on. But if all of a sudden you see that the average is, let's say, 300, now it's looking over that 7-day span and it's turning off those ad sets because it's outside the CPA range that you're looking for. So when you're creating these automation rules, primarily you're using them with higher budget accounts because you want to make sure that you're not bleeding or using any sort of budget that you might want to use for scale. And so you're setting such 3 and 7-day increments. That's typically what I do. But then you might be setting something to where, let's say, you don't want to have any ads running whatsoever that don't achieve at least a lead at a certain point, or at least a purchase at a certain point. This account is a lead-based and application-based account. This same logic can be applied to a physical product store. So if you want ads that don't generate a purchase to be left on above a $50 CPA, you can make sure that any ads that go above a $50 purchase cost are turned off. Or if they don't achieve an add to cart within the first $15, they are turned off. So you're using these automation rules to just make sure that you keep the budget in places where you have the most potential for scale. I like to do things over 3 and 7-day increments. Some people like to also set a month-long automation rule, especially if you're spending a lot of money. There are some campaigns that retroactively you'll see that purchases or leads or things of that nature are attributed to something that was a couple days ago or even a week ago, depending on where they are in the cycle of opting in for or buying a product of yours. So if you are going to follow my methodology, I do things in 3 to 7-day increments, as you noticed in what was active above. Of course, you can do this based upon ABO and CBO methodologies, whether or not you're doing things on that type of budget. But once again, another great thing is you can also set it to where the budgets can be incrementally increased, right? In this example, you can see increase daily budget by at least 1% at a maximum cap of $50, and you can do this hourly so long as the cost per lead is less than $25 and the result is greater than 1. You can get really sophisticated with these automation rules if you want to do so. This is basically allowing the ad set itself to increase in the overall budget by at least 1% every hour, right? So it's not going through the budget and doing 25% bumps, 100% bumps, doing 1% bump, as long as the cost per lead is less than $25, but it has to at least have 1 lead. So you could see where this can come in handy, especially when you're trying to scale quickly, having a rule like this in place. So you could see the power in using automation. Keep in mind, there's a lot of ways you can use this. You could see here, you could do this based upon cost per result, spend, all sorts of different. You could do it by settings or time of day or specific events. There's all sorts of ways you could set this up. You want to find the combination that works best for you. For many of you who are doing local campaigns, it's going to be based upon cost per lead or cost per application or phone call. For people in physical product stores, it's going to be based upon, let's say, the amount of money spent to acquire and add to cart or initiate checkout, and then also a purchase. But a lot of it's going to be more for cutting losses versus scale. So keep that in mind. But this is just a basic overview of automation rules. You got to find something that works best for you. There is no preset automation that works for everyone. This is just something you have to play with as you're at a point of scale. But I highly suggest at least using these to cut back on losing campaigns, especially for something that's not generating purchases or leads or applications. So everyone, use automation rules, put them in your accounts today, and benefit at the point of saving money and also generating a lot more scale in a quicker span.